Today on Money Monday, we're going to be talking about something that's actually very sad, tragic, and horrible. And there's going to be many of you people who watch this who go, this has happened to me. Or, oh my gosh, this happened to someone else. And there'll be lots of people that don't even believe that what I'm saying is possible. So let's rewind to 13 years ago. 13 years ago, I was working at Bank of America. I was a new loan officer, and I was in my office. We had offices, and we met with people, very old-timey. And I was in my office with a girl who wanted to buy her first house. She was about 26, so excited. She had a great job. We were talking about her credit. What's your credit score? Oh, it's like 800. I worked so hard on it, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I pull her credit, and I'm like, you know, it's awkward. It's always hard when there's someone in your office too watching you do it, especially when the results are not what you expected. It was terrible. It was like under 600, garbage can. There were credit cards that had never been paid. There were a couple lines that were perfect. But then there were like 3 credit cards that had been opened and never paid. And I say, I'm super confused. You have like some stuff you're paying, but there's other stuff you never paid. What am I missing? And she broke down and she started crying in my office. It was so horrible. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, I thought maybe I had like someone who was not mentally sound, or I don't know, because sometimes you get weird stuff. And she goes, he did it again. I'm like, who? Who did it again? My dad. What? Your dad? I don't understand. What did your dad do? He opened up credit cards in her name and never paid them. Yeah, that was his whole trick. So dad had bad credit, couldn't get any lines of credit. So what he would do is he would take his kids' social security numbers and date of birth and open up credit in their name. Yeah, he was totally stealing the identity of his children to get lines of credit. Yeah. And I'm like, you need to report this to the police. How do you report it to the police though? It's your dad. I mean, yeah, totally you should report it to the police. That's the correct thing to do when someone steals your identity. But people are very conflicted about reporting a family member to the police for this type of stuff, which is why it can happen more than once. I had a similar thing happen just last week. 2 of these happened last week. So on my end, I had a veteran whose credit score was terrible. And I'm like, dude, what happened? And he's like, oh, my niece opened up credit without my permission. Yeah, the niece. And then my sister called me. She's a loan originator in Washington. And she's like, you're never going to believe this. And I'm like, oh, please. Good luck. Stump me. And she's like, I have this perfect client, 800 credit score last year. We pre-approved her, you know, $1 million plus purchase. And I just pulled her credit at 600. Why? Did she not pay a bill? Her mom opened up a credit card in her name and never paid it. Yeah. These parents and relatives are not getting people's permission. They just have access to your date of birth and social security. And they're opening up trade lines in their children and family members' names and not paying them. Yeah, because if they have bad credit already, what's magically going to make them better with credit? So, and I hate to say this, but I think even if this hasn't, first of all, you should always have your credit frozen, okay? If you're not actively about to buy something, you should freeze your credit. And I have another video on how to do that. It doesn't cost money in most states. Like all the bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion have it so that you can freeze it without a cost because of stuff like this. But if you have a family member, especially that's doing stuff like this, you have to freeze it. Like you have no choice. And then when you go to buy a house or something, just unfreeze it while the lender's pulling it. And should you report them to the police? Yeah, you should. Yeah, and it's so cold. It's so cold. How could I report my family member to the police? They're stealing your identity. And honestly, if a criminal did it, that's messed up. But a family member, isn't that worse? I don't know. Weigh in. What do you guys think? Your family member has stolen your identity to open up credit cards and ruined your credit. Are you reporting them to the police? Weigh in. Thanks for watching.